Quite often we run across things that make our lives so much easier. So what I'm gonna do for you today is show you a quick and simple minor chord hack. Let's discuss. I'm Chris Moses, and this is Gospel Progressions University, where I'm here to equip you as a church musician. Now, I'm going to show you a hack, a simple approach to any minor chord in any key. So all you need to know to execute this hack are two things: your major scale, the Ionian major in all 12 keys, and how to play a diminished seventh chord. That's it. So of course we know that our major scale is just going to be these notes here, right? In the key of C major. And a diminished chord is very simple. You have a major triad. We take the third and bring it back a half step, the fifth and bring it back a half step, and then we add the major sixth. We have a diminished chord and your diminished seventh chord. The great thing about it is that there's 4 chords in one. So you know your C diminished seventh, E flat diminished seventh, G flat diminished seventh, and then there's A diminished seventh. And it just repeats because it's symmetrical. Now, we know our major scale, we know how to make a diminished seventh chord. You just learned at least 4 ways. And you can just take that up and transpose it up in half steps. Now, in order to do this hack, we need to know just one more thing. All we're gonna do is one change to the major scale. So we have the major scale, we know what these notes are. You know, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, and back to C again. So with the major scale, we're just gonna change one thing. We're gonna change the third note, 1, 2, and 3. This is a major third, this E here from C, but instead of making it a major, we're just gonna change this note in the scale and make it E flat, making it a minor. So instead of having C, D, E, we'll have C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B, and C again. So that is your C melodic minor scale, okay? Now it's a little bit different in classical music, but for our purposes here, this is gonna be the same thing, you know, ascending as descending as well. So we know that the first chord in this is a C minor chord. We want to resolve here to C minor, for example. So what we're going to do now is take the last 3 notes. And if you notice, it's the exact same thing. The last 3 notes are going to be the exact same thing in the major scale as it is in the melodic minor scale. The only difference is the first chord, or the tonic, for the major scale, the Ionian, is going to be a major. In this case, the melodic minor, the first scale, or the first chord, I should say, is going to be a minor chord. So we go to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all right? Now the fifth would be a G, just like it would be in C major. So now we take the G in the left hand, right? Put that here, and the last part of that would sound like. So that's what we would have, okay? And now we're still, if we're considering we're still in a scale of C minor, and it would just be the same thing, but we're just starting on the 5, okay? Now, we know how to play a diminished chord, right? But we're not looking at C diminished seventh in this case. What we're looking for is the diminished of the 5 of 5. All right, in English, all that is this. Again, we have the C, all right, melodic minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your 5. The fifth interval from that 5 is the 5 of 5. In other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all based off of the major scale. So this would be G major. Okay, again, C, the fifth of it, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or rather 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C melodic minor. We put G right in our left hand, and we look for that 5, the 5 of G major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that goes in our left hand as well. Now here's the trick. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take our right hand, and that D that you have, you're going to make that into a diminished seventh chord. So D diminished seventh, G major, G diminished. Okay, now every chord, when we walk up, it's going to be a diminished chord except for the last one. All right, now I'm going to back up just a little bit. Our hand is right here, our pinky rather is right here on this B. So what we're doing, really, we're playing the entire melodic minor scale, right? But we're going to just break it up. I'm just going to show what the melody will sound like. On the left hand, we know we have this. Now, if we started from B in our right hand, it would sound like this. If we play both together, it would sound like this. Okay, and of course, this would be your C minor. This is our tonic of the C melodic minor. So now, getting back to what I was showing you before, G, as we walk up, we have our D here. We're not going to play it together. We're just going to move this D here to the right hand. Take your thumb here and play that D diminished. And now you're going to walk up in steps. So it's going to be from your right hand. When I say in steps, it's technically not in steps, but understand, well, it's steps on the left hand. Well, the remaining steps is left in the C melodic minor. So in other words, we're going to go, this is your first chord. Here you're going to play, all right, in your right hand. And then now we're going to shift it now. And we're going to play the diminished for A. But it's going to be inverted. In other words, because remember what, like I told you, you get one diminished chord, you get 4. So this is another inversion of the A diminished. Although if you play this in the right hand, it's the same thing as this here. So we have this, remember, the 5 of 5, which is D, D diminished, and then we do D diminished, right, over a G. Then we do the A diminished, all right, and then we do the B diminished, and now we complete that with C minor. That will work for any key, but we can do it in the key of F sharp. We know the F sharp major would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. We have the minor third, 1, 2, 3, bring that back a half step, right? 1, 2, minor 3. We know that everything matches after the first time. It starts out like this, but then by the time you get to the 1, 2, 3, fourth note, just like the major scale. So, and then we go now to the 5. So this last 3 notes, 5, 6, 7, and it resolve right back to 1 again. So remember, 5 of 5. We know the last 3 notes are going to be 5, 6, 7, and back to 1. So we take the 5 and we go on the left hand, 5, and then we take the 5 of 5. So we act like D flat is a major scale. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have our pinky here, our left hand, D flat, C sharp, and then we have the A flat diminished. So then we walk up with that. A flat diminished, all right? And remember, it would sound something like this with the pinky. That's what it would sound like. So we do this here, D flat, we go to the A flat diminished, and just walk everything up in the corresponding diminished. So first one we have here is A flat diminished, and then we go E flat diminished, F diminished, and then we resolve at G flat. So it would be, so now you're here in F sharp minor. You wanted to go to E minor. It's the same thing. Remember, we have E major, just the E major scale. We just change one note, 1, 2, 3, bring that back a half step. E melodic minor, just like E major, except one note changes. So now we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is B. The fifth of B would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B left hand, F sharp, which is the 5 of B, becomes a diminished chord, and then we walk up the rest. So, and we just do this. We go back to the diminished, all right, and then that works for all 12 keys, any minor chord, it doesn't matter. All you really need to know, just to recap, how to play a diminished 7th chord, and remember, 1 chord for 4 chords. You know, 1 diminished 7th chord, we have 4 diminished 7th chords because it's symmetrical. Number 2 is that you need to know all your major scales in all 12 keys. And number 3, you just change one note from that major scale, which is your major third. You bring it back a half step, you have what's called the melodic minor scale. And then now we take the last 3 notes of that melodic minor scale, all right, starting from the 5th degree, like in C, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we take that 5, then we go to the 5 of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We take that and turn that into a diminished chord, and then we just walk up now in steps. We have the first diminished chord, and then we go to the next step, would be the A diminished, B diminished, and then we resolve at the target chord, which would be the minor chord. All right, I hope that has helped you, and I hope that has been a blessing to you. I hope that helps you to take your practice time and to kind of, condense it and make it a little shorter, and to give you some new ideas and some new chord approaches. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and leave it in the comment section. If you want to learn more, and if you want to take your skills to that next level, and you're not too sure about where to go as far as gospel music, you want to learn more about scales and how to actually apply these things so you can improve, well, go check out my free guide over at gospelprogressionsuniversity.com/Gospel Keys Pro. The name of that guide is called What Do Pro Musicians Know That You Don't? God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.